Akbar Shahid Ahmed. He is a senior foreign affairs reporter at the HuffPost. He joins us from New York. Thanks so much for your time for TRT World. Now when Joe Biden is in the White House, how different will be the relationship between the U.S. and Canada?
It's a hugely different relationship. President Trump had called Prime Minister Trudeau two-faced. He had called him weak. He had imposed tariffs on Canada, which was unprecedented. He'd called into question the NATO alliance, which is really foundational for the U.S.-Canada relationship. President Biden looks to Prime Minister Trudeau and sees someone he wants to work with. He has known through the Obama administration. You saw them address each other by their first names. That's not common. And it's also returned to normalcy for the U.S. So traditionally, U.S. presidents go to Canada for their first foreign visit. Obviously, during the coronavirus pandemic, that's not possible. He's hosted Prime Minister Trudeau here. President Trump, from the beginning of his election, was already talking to foreign leaders, starting with President Sisi of Egypt, right after his election, before he was even president, and then hosted Prime Minister Theresa May of the UK. There was no order there. There was no standard U.S. diplomacy. So this is really part of Biden's message that we're back and we are here with our allies.
Right. I was looking at the Canadian media just a while ago. I mean, many positive reactions following this virtual meeting. Now, how significant is the relationship with the U.S. for Canada?
For Canada, it's huge. I mean, Canada, in a lot of ways, is economically quite reliant on the U.S. This is the most important economic relationship they have. You have many Canadians living and working in the U.S., and you have a lot of concern over what an unpredictable U.S. means for Canadian security, particularly on defense. The Canadians have traditionally not spent a lot of money on securing their borders or securing their continent because they've thought, well, the Americans are there and they'll do it for us and with us. Under President Trump, that was deeply shaken. It's also important to think about the domestic politics. So Biden and Trudeau domestically are quite aligned in their political philosophies, as opposed to Trudeau's domestic opponents, who are much closer to President Trump and the Republican Party. There's been a lot of crossover there. So these are two leaders who are saying, we're together, we're both in office. Trudeau has an election coming up as well. There's a lot of similarity here that both of them want to benefit from.
Right. And Akbar, what are the possible challenges ahead for the U.S.-Canada relations?
Yeah, it's not all nice press conferences. And it was interesting that at this conference, they actually didn't take any journalist questions, because had journalists been able to talk to President Biden or Prime Minister Trudeau, they would have raised a couple of the kind of key issues. The number one is the Keystone XL pipeline. President Biden has canceled U.S. participation, and that's a big Canadian project. Trudeau said he was disappointed. But you also see a number of issues around tariffs come up. Canada also has a much slower vaccination program than the United States. They're way behind even other countries in the Western world. And there was some hope on the Canadian side that perhaps the U.S. would pledge some of their vaccine stocks or some sort of help on coronavirus. That hasn't happened yet.
Okay, Akbar Shahid Ahmed, I appreciate that insight for us here at TRT World. Thanks so much.